A little girl stood in the middle of a grocery store, clutching two sleeping babies in her trembling arms. Her dress was torn, her face streaked with tears, and every customer who walked past pretended not to see her. She wasn't begging for money. She wasn't asking for gifts. She only whispered that her baby brothers hadn't had milk in 2 days. Then one man stopped walking. He had built a billion-dollar empire, but in that heartbreaking moment, he realized he had never truly seen poverty until he looked into the eyes of that child. What happened after she quietly promised, "I'll pay you back when I grow up," changed both of their lives forever. Before we continue, if you believe kindness can change someone's destiny, please take a second to like this video, subscribe to Loyal Hearts, and share it with someone who still believes in second chances. We would also love to know where you're watching from, because every comment reminds us that compassion connects people from every corner of the world. Nathan Caldwell had spent most of his life chasing success. At 43, he owned one of the largest food distribution companies in America, traveled in private jets, and appeared on magazine covers as a self-made millionaire. Yet despite everything he possessed, there was an emptiness he could never explain. His parents had died when he was young, and every achievement only made the silence inside him louder. That afternoon, he had entered a neighborhood supermarket simply because his chauffeur was stuck in traffic and he wanted to buy a bottle of water while waiting. He expected an ordinary stop. Instead, destiny was waiting in aisle 7. Near the baby formula shelf stood a tiny girl who looked no older than 8. She held 2 newborn boys wrapped in worn blankets that were far too thin for the chilly air inside the store. Her arms trembled from exhaustion, but she refused to put them down because there was nowhere safe to lay them. Her name was Eliana Brooks. Since losing both parents in a tragic apartment fire only weeks earlier, she had been caring for her infant twin brothers while distant relatives argued over who should take responsibility. Temporary shelters had turned them away because paperwork was incomplete. And the little family had spent nights moving between church basements and abandoned buildings. Nathan noticed shoppers glancing at the children before quickly looking away. Some whispered that someone should call social services. Others simply continued filling their carts. Eliana wasn't asking strangers for money. She had carefully picked up a single carton of milk and quietly asked the cashier if she could somehow pay later because her brothers would not stop crying from hunger. The cashier, following store policy, apologized and shook her head. Tears rolled down the little girl's cheeks, but she never argued. She simply hugged the babies tighter as if love alone could feed them. Something inside Nathan broke. Without saying a word, he walked to the register and paid not only for the milk, but also for baby formula, diapers, warm blankets, groceries, fresh fruit, medicine, and enough supplies to last several weeks. The cashier filled cart after cart while the stunned customers watched in silence. Eliana stared at the mountain of food with wide, disbelieving eyes. She tried to hand Nathan a tiny coin she had hidden in her pocket, but he gently closed her fingers around it. Looking up at him with complete sincerity, she whispered that she would pay him back when she grew up. Those simple words carried more dignity than any business contract Nathan had ever signed. He smiled through tears and told her that the only repayment he wanted was for her to keep believing that good people still existed. Nathan refused to walk away after learning where the children had been sleeping. Instead, he contacted trusted child welfare advocates, family attorneys, and a non-profit organization his company had quietly supported for years. Rather than seeking publicity, he personally followed every legal step to ensure Eliana and her brothers were protected. The process took months filled with court hearings, home evaluations, and endless paperwork. During that time, Nathan visited, often bringing books instead of expensive toys because he wanted Eliana to dream beyond survival. Every visit strengthened a bond neither of them expected. She slowly smiled again. Her brothers grew healthy. For the first time since losing her parents, she laughed without guilt. Years passed faster than anyone imagined. Nathan never married, but he remained the steady father figure who attended every school performance, every graduation, and every birthday. Eliana studied harder than anyone in her class because she carried one promise in her heart. She never forgot the man who had seen her when everyone else had looked away. Inspired by the people who had rescued her family, she chose to study medicine. The journey was brutally difficult. She worked night shifts, earned scholarships, and often survived on very little sleep. Whenever she felt ready to quit, she remembered that single carton of milk and the stranger who had believed her life was worth saving. 15 years after that unforgettable day, Nathan collapsed during an important charity gala. Doctors discovered a rare illness requiring immediate treatment. As he was rushed into one of the country's leading hospitals, fear surrounded everyone who loved him. Then a young physician entered his room to review his case. Nathan looked up and immediately recognized the familiar eyes, though they now belonged to a confident woman wearing a white medical coat. It was Dr. Eliana Brooks. She had fulfilled every promise she made as a frightened little girl. With extraordinary care and determination, she led the medical team through Nathan's long recovery. During those difficult weeks, she reminded him that compassion always returns, even if it takes years. Nathan often insisted he had never expected anything in return for buying a simple glass of milk, but Eliana gently smiled and said that he had given her far more than food. He had given her hope, dignity, and the chance to build a future. Saving his life wasn't repayment. It was gratitude carried across 15 unforgettable years. Nathan recovered completely, and together they established a nationwide foundation providing emergency food, shelter, and educational support for children caring for younger siblings. Thousands of families found hope because one man chose to stop walking, and one little girl chose never to forget kindness. Their story became proof that the smallest act of compassion can echo through generations, transforming lives in ways no one could ever predict. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, share it with your family and friends, and subscribe to Loyal Heart so more people can discover stories that remind us humanity is still alive. Special request. Before you leave, comment with the words "Kindness always returns" if you believe that even the smallest act of compassion can change someone's future forever. As Nathan watched Eliana leave the hospital after his final checkup, he realized that wealth had never been measured by the size of a bank account. True riches were found in the lives we choose to lift when no one else is watching. One carton of milk had become a lifetime of hope, proving that kindness is never an expense, it is an investment whose greatest rewards are often returned when we least expect them.